Good evening, I'm Pauline Verzosa.
I'm Ed Lingao. Tonight on The Big Story, Vice President Sara Duterte says what she feels about President Bongbong Marcos does not change with the season, and so she is not wishing him a Merry Christmas.
And aside from politics and the flood control scandal, there are other issues that had great impact on Filipinos this year. Ranjit Rai of Octa Research joins us in a bit to talk about surveys and optics in 2025.
But it's still Christmas. We see how Filipinos celebrated this day from our mobile journalists. Begin with the obvious, the Christmas Day celebrations. For most Filipinos, this day is all about family. And tonight, families are spending the holiday in public parks like Luneta in Manila. And reporting us live from Rizal Park is mobile journal Aimee Atienza. Aimee, kamusta ngayon dyan? We will return to Aimee in a few minutes. Mukhang nagka-problema ng konti sa kanyang signal. Let's head over to Quezon City Circle. Also a popular destination for families during the holiday season. And joining us now is Mojo Fatima Baduria. Fatima, kamusta kayo dyan?
Ed, masikip sa Quezon Memorial Circle ngayong gabi dahil maraming dito na napiling magpasko. Libre kasi ang entrance at maraming pwedeng gawin sa loob ng park na pwedeng pang-pamilya, pwedeng maglaro sa mga open spaces ng park at may playground din na kanina pa napupuno ng mga bata. Kapag nagutom naman ang mga namamasyal, mayroong food park kung saan maraming mapagpipilian ng mga pagkain. May mga designated din na upuan at mesa, pero dahil punuan, naglalatag na lang ang iba at nagpipiknik. May iba na nagbabaon ng pagkain pero paalala ng mga opisyal na bawal ang single-use plastic sa loob ng park. Kabilang dyan ang mga plastic bottles at plastic bags. Alinsunod daw yan sa ordinansa ng Quezon City Government. At para mapanatili naman ang seguridad, may mga lumilibot na police at guards. Meron ding police assistance desk sa loob mismo ng park. At sa mga mahahabol pa dito sa circle, kasama ang kanilang mga pamilya, bukas ang park hanggang alas 12 ng hating gabi mamaya. Yan muna ang latest dito. Balik sa'yo, Ed.
Bok, baka pwedeng ikaw ba yung naka-tripod? Baka pwedeng iwas-iwas mo naman ng konting yung camera at pakita mo sa amin yung paligid mo. Konting lakad-lakad ka dyan. At konting kwento.
Ayan. Kung makikita nyo, dito kasi ako pumwesto sa medyo maluwag para may signal. Pero ayan ang sitwasyon dito eh. Marami talagang mga tao at doon pa sa bandang gilid doon, nandoon yung food park kung saan mas marami pang mga tao dahil nandoon na rin yung playground, so yung mga bata talagang doon nagsipunta. Ayan. At yung iba, ini-enjoy din yung mga pailaw dito, no? Yung mga pwedeng picturean ng mga pamilya, lalo na at Pasko. Ayan, makikita natin talagang napakaraming tao dito, Ed.
So, bawal ang single-use plastic. Ibig sabihin, yung mga, tama, yung mga mineral water bottles, bawal din. Yung mga sapin ng turon, bawal, gano'n?
Yes, Ed, yung mga plastic bottles, kung magdadala ng mga soft drinks, lalo na sa mga magpipiknik, no, kinukuha yan ng mga guard sa entrance pa lang. So, talagang abiso nila na magdala na lang ng mga, kung magdadala ng mga pagkain o inumin, doon na lang sa mga reusable containers, no, pati sa mga tumbler, ganun na lang.
Aba, pero medyo mahirap yan kasi maraming tao sanay sa nagdadala ng mineral water bottle eh. So kung wala kang ganun, you have to leave, it's confiscated, kumbaga.
Yes, Ed. Kaya nga, nahihirapan din yung iba. Ang ginagawa na lang nila, bumibili sila ng pagkain dito na mismo para less hassle din.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so hanggang kailan pwedeng tumambay dyan sa QC Circle? Meron ba yung curfew?
Ed, hanggang alas 12 ng hating gabi, pwedeng tumambay dito. So yung mga hahabol pa, marami pang oras, Ed.
Okay, tapos marami rin I suppose, kasi dati marami yung marami binibenta dyan na kung ano-anong anik-anik eh. Is it the same thing now?
Karamihan sa mga nakikita natin, Ed, puro mga pagkain eh. Parang bukod dun sa food park na nabanggit ko kanina, sa iba't ibang sulok din, merong mga prutas. At ang iba pang mga, bukod sa pagkain, meron din naman mga laruan. Pero karamihan talaga, puro mga pagkain para sa mga pamilya. Siyempre, Paskong Pasko, hindi pwedeng mawala yung mga kainan, Ed.
Okay, siyempre. Maraming salamat, Mojo Fatima Baduria, live from the Quezon City Circle this Christmas night.
And now we go back to our mobile journalist Amy Atienza, who is still reporting live in Rizal Park or Luneta in Manila. Hi Amy, Merry Christmas! Naku, nagsimula na ba ang light show?
Nako, mukhang mahina
Okay,
ang
so
signal.
yes, it looks like the signal is still bad in Luneta. But earlier, no, I saw Amy reporting live from there. And maraming mga pamilya, Bok, na nagse-celebrate talaga lagi ng Christmas, di ba?
Actually, puntahan talaga yung Luneta.
Oo.
Pasko tsaka Bagong Taon.
Ayun.
Tapos marami na nagbebenta dyan yung mga yung mga ilalatag mo dun sa lupa para hindi maanduman yung puwet mo pag umupo ka.
Oo.
People just usually just lay their stuff on the ground and sit down and
It's a
and eat
simple
their,
celebration
eat
with
their
your
music.
family, diba? With your loved ones. You can have a picnic. Itong, I believe these are videos from earlier today. And there's that light show. Itong fountain na to, live yan sa Luneta today for Christmas celebrations. And although I know in previous years, Bok, diba, mas maraming tao talaga napupuno yung Luneta.
It's actually a Filipino tradition. A lot of people go to Luneta for Christmas Day, actually even Christmas Eve, and New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Puntahan talaga siya eh. Kaya nga, it's a big business there, yung stuff like food, stuff like yung mga pailaw, and and pati yung panlatag yung mga foil na panlatag eh.
Binibenta din yun,
Oo,
Bok.
binibenta
Oo.
yun. Oh, parang banig siya pero metallic, metallized na so waterproof siya. So kahit basa yung lupa, okay lang.
Well, it's really nice to see Filipino families, celebrating Christmas together. Ayan, nakita natin, kompleto, Dandyan yung si tatay, si nanay, and the little kids. They just want to celebrate the holidays together. Complete, kahit hindi masyadong in grande yung selebrasyon. Ang importante, magkakasama sila. And we're seeing that here in some of the footage of Amy Atienza from Luneta Park. Ayan, so
Sabi mo minsan
kay
kay Andre, dalhin ka dyan sa Luneta.
Oo nga eh.
Mamasyal kayo dyan,
no? Sa New Year. Tatry kaya namin yan. Oo.
That'll be interesting, di ba?
Kayo ba, Bok, nakapag-celebrate na kayo sa Luneta?
Hindi si Commander. Pero dati kasi, nagko-cover ako dyan sa Maynila. Dalas ako dyan eh.
Oo. Ayan, so you can rent a bike din, I suppose? Or kanya-kanyang dala ba yan ng mga bisikleta?
Well, hindi ko inabutan yung panahon na makakapag-arakla ng kabayo.
Oh. Hindi ba, Bok?
Hindi ko inabot yun.
Oo, ayan. So I'm sure there are so many activities there. Unfortunately, we lost our signal with Amy Atienza, but we will still try to get back to Amy. But for now, okay.
Okay, sige. Let's move on. At least for the meantime, President Marcos urges Filipinos to remember those who are in most need, calamity-stricken, and marginalized in the celebration of the holidays. In his Christmas Day message, Marcos encouraged the nation to be like Jesus and share their abundance with the people around them, even kindness and happiness. The President also wished every Filipino's desire will be fulfilled. Now, for her part, Vice President Sara Duterte spent her Christmas Day at her family's gift-giving event at their ancestral home in Barangay Bangkal in Davao City. The annual activity was started over 30 years ago by former President Duterte, who is now detained in The Hague over his drug war. The Vice President was asked to respond to various issues, but one question stood out. Does she have any message to President Marcos for this Christmas? And here is the Vice President's reply.
Bakit? Magbabago ba yung ugali niya kung Christmas o hindi? Hindi naman magbabago. So, and in the same vein, magbabago ba yung ugali ko kung Christmas o hindi? So So kung ayaw ko siya batiin kahapon na hindi Christmas, ayaw ko siya batiin ngayon na Pasko. Ganun kasi ako na tao. Ayaw ko batiin ng mga ayaw ko batiin.
Well, there you go. Duterte also weighed in on the death of former Public Works Undersecretary Maria Catalina Cabral. The Vice President says the incident could be a wake-up call for other government officials allegedly involved in the flood control scandal. On whether or not there's foul play in Cabral's death, here is what Duterte had to say.
Hindi ako maka-speculate kung ano ang nangyari doon sa Cannon Road dahil hindi ko naman nabasa kung ano yung mga reports.
Meanwhile, Sara's sister Kitty Duterte shared a Christmas message for her father on Instagram. Reflecting on their special bond, Kitty Duterte said this is the first time in 21 years that she will be spending Christmas away from Duterte. Kitty recalled childhood memories with her dad and thanked him for his love and guidance. Kitty Duterte ended her message with, and we quote, "Merry Christmas, sweet Papa. I will always be your bossy and chunky Kitty."
Well, over in Cebu, calamities did not dampen the Christmas spirit. Some 200 families living at the Talisay City Tent Village were proof of this. Even after being left homeless by the earthquake and typhoons that hit Cebu this year, residents spent Christmas Eve with a simple Noche Buena, pork barbecue, and some karaoke for entertainment. They did try to organize a Christmas party for everyone, but decided to cancel due to lack of funds. The local government of Talisay continues to support the residents' needs like food and basic supplies, as finding a relocation site for them remains elusive. Now we're just going to take a quick break, but coming up, looks like reconciliation is no longer possible for the Marcoses and Dutertes. But who has the upper hand come the major elections in 2028? We'll have that discussion when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Hello everyone, this is Cheska Calao, anchor of Play-by-Play on One News, and I just want to wish everyone peace in their hearts, overflowing love, and good health in the coming year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year mga kapatid!
Hello mga kapatid at fellow Signal subscribers. Ako po si Ed Lingao ng Storycon or Story Conference at ng Frontline Tonight. Ang aking Christmas wish for 2025 ay isa pong open and transparent budgeting process, isang responsibleng citizenry at isang leadership na mayroong integridad. Merry Christmas!
May the holiday season bring you peace, joy, and moments of reflection with those who matter most. Here's to a bright and prosperous new year filled with new opportunities, growth, and shared success. From all of us here at Money Talks and One News, Merry Christmas, kapatid!
Hello po mga kapatid, Andre Felix po. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year po, advance na. At ang wish ko lang, mas maging maayos na ang kalagayan at sitwasyon ng ating bansa, mas maging peaceful, at maging safe tayong lahat, maging healthy, at tuloy-tuloy lang ang blessings. God bless you always po, and Merry Christmas.
Mga kapatid, Merry Christmas po sa inyong lahat. Sana ngayong Pasko ay makapiling natin yung mga mahal natin sa buhay. Kahit simpleng salo-salo lang ang importante, lahat po ng mga miyembro ng ating pamilya, masaya, malusog, at masigla. Merry Christmas, everyone!
Hello mga kapatid and fellow Signal subscribers. I'm Ami Pamintuan of Storycon and Editor-in-Chief of the Philippine Star. Ang wish ko lang po, isang malinis, makatao, masipag at mahusay na gobyerno para talagang merry ang Christmas natin at masagana ang darating na bagong taon.
Mga kapatid at mga Signal subscribers, Cheryl Cosing po ng One Balita, Pilipinas. Maligayang Pasko po sa inyong lahat. Naway mapuno ng saya, pagmamahalan at pag-asa ang iyong mga tahanan ngayong Pasko. Maraming salamat po sa inyong patuloy na pagsama at pagtitiwala po sa amin. Isang mapagpalang Pasko sa inyo pong lahat.
Magandang araw mga kapatid. Ako po si Manny Mugato at binabato kayo ng Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Sana po sa 2026 ay maging maayos na ang ating bayan at tayo ay umahon sa kahirapan at maging mapayapa ang ating mundo. Kaya Merry Christmas po, Happy New Year sa inyong lahat.
Welcome back. You're still watching The Big Story here on One News. Well, before Christmas Day, the country's top leaders sent messages to Filipinos. President Bongbong Marcos reminded the public to stay safe and healthy while enjoying the holidays. In a Christmas vlog with First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos, the president advised careful travel and responsible celebrations. He also urged caution in using firecrackers as the year draws to a close.
Iwasan na natin yan. Doon na po tayo sa mga torotot at iba pang malingay na mga laruan. Para kumpleto at masaya ang pagsalubong natin sa darating na bagong taon.
Vice President Sara Duterte, for her part, also extended Christmas greetings. She called on Filipinos to pray for peace and strength for the country. And amid the challenges of the year, many Filipinos remain hopeful. A social weather station survey found that 68% of adult Filipinos expect a happy Christmas in 2025. Now, that figure is higher than last year's, but lower than levels seen in 2022 and 2023. Meantime, News 5 spoke with our kapatid about their Christmas wishes this year, and here are some of them.
Sana yung mga kurap, sana unahin ninyong tumulong bago kayo mangurakot sa bansa.
Sana may makulong para sampulan natin.
And tonight, let's talk more about the rift between the president and the vice president and how this animosity has affected the country. And we have with us political scientist and UP Diliman Department of Political Science Assistant Professor Ranjit Rai. He's also the president of I almost said Octa Gear, but the Octa Group. He joins us tonight for this discussion. Sir, Professor, magandang gabi and thank you for joining us tonight.
Well, yeah, thank you for inviting me. Again, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to all of you and to all of our citizens watching us today.
Merry Christmas, sir. Now, I hate to spring this on you, pero the last trust and performance survey we had from Octa Research was the third quarter survey, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Now, I'm fairly certain that you already have a fourth quarter survey.
Yes.
I'm wondering if you can give us a sneak preview of that.
Yeah, okay.
Kahit ramdam lang.
Well, we have a fourth quarter survey. We finished our survey data up to the second week of December. Unfortunately, we're still processing that data and will be coming out by the first week of January. This is traditionally in Octa, we release our fourth quarter in the first 2 weeks of January. Yeah. So right now, I don't have any new data except to reiterate what we've been seeing, as a survey organization as far as governance and democracy are concerned. And it was very clear, especially in the last quarter, that Filipinos support democracy. 8 out of 10 Filipinos will support democracy, even with all its problems. No? So the data suggests that Filipinos want reform, not regime change. And I think to a great extent, that was what shaped the last quarter, the third and the fourth quarter, as far as political events were concerned. But when you ask everyday Filipinos if they're satisfied with democracy, only 40% say they are. So, it's really performance, in a sense, that is needed. Democracy provides a promise, but it's performance that Filipinos are complaining about. And to a great extent, the elite infighting we've had over the last 2 years have eroded people's confidence in that democracy. I think it's probably the single biggest threat to democracy now. Our elites fighting against each other and eroding people's confidence, not just in democracy but also in governance.
Sir, just for context, I know of course you cannot give us much detail about the fourth quarter survey. In fairness, kasi nga naman, January pa nyo ilalabas dapat yung results. But the third quarter survey, drawing from that, we saw a dips in the numbers of BBM and Sara Duterte. BBM 7%, I'm sorry, 7 points dip in trust and 8 points dip in performance. VP Sara, 3 points dip in trust, 1 point dip in performance. I know you can't give us the details yet, but have we seen any changes in the trends?
Well, right now we're not optimistic about trends changing, given the fact that when you look at the whole year, we started with a very significant midterm election where it was practically a stalemate for both the administration and the emerging opposition. Then you see the opposition support consolidating with the rest of the former President Duterte, and the ensuing political conflict after that, especially with the impeachment, and then later on, with this political scandal, massive political scandal over corruption with regards to flood control projects. We see the whole year really as a declining trend for both leaders. And Filipinos are looking for performance, not promises. They're looking for a solution to their everyday problems, which are still rooted in economic issues. Number one issue in Okta surveys for the last 3 quarters is really inflation, the price of goods. Filipinos want a solution to the high prices of goods, and I think the government has been slowly doing something about that. Inflation has gone down significantly since the first quarter. Number 2 is of course the issue of accessible, cheap food, like in particular rice. But number 2 is also corruption, which became which hit the top 5 and is now number 2 as far as the third quarter survey results of Okta is concerned. It's become a very important issue because the president himself, illuminated, these problems, and that's become a big scandal that's affected the political class since the third quarter. Third, of course, is the issue of jobs, wages. Okay, and so these are the top 3 concerns of everyday Filipinos. They largely deal with gut issues, and if the government is unable to perform, people's trust in democracy and governance and good governance will go down, and that will be, I think, the big challenge in 2026. How do we turn this around? How do we turn the economy around, which, by the way, modestly grew in the third quarter? We don't know what the final numbers are this quarter. And how will good governance, reforms in institutions, especially in places like DPWH, will improve the performance of government in general?
But Professor, I'm curious, between corruption, gut issues, and inflation, which one do you think is weighing more heavily on public opinion?
I think right now, it used to be primarily gut issues, but since the third quarter, corruption has crashed in the top 5, and it's now currently at number 2, top concern of everyday Filipinos dealing with corruption, and corruption is, we looked at the issue, and in the third quarter, it was very clear Filipinos are very angry about it. We looked at how people felt. More than 60% were angry, and around 30% were anxious and fearful about what was happening. Okay, number 2, and this is very important, Filipinos are not just angry, they want certain outcomes to be realized. Number 1, people have to go to jail, people have to be held accountable. Number 2, the accountability has to be established. Number 2, people have to go to jail. Number 3, people have to return the money, and of course, institutions have to be reformed. So very clear. As far as our surveys are concerned, these are the top 4 concerns of four expectations of Filipinos as far as dealing with this corruption scandal is concerned. They want people to go to jail. They want the money returned, so that's restitution. And third, they want institutional reform.
But Professor, since your last survey, your third quarter survey, there have been many developments already surrounding the flood control probe. Arrest warrants have been issued. The ICI has also wrapped up its investigations for the year at least. Do you think that has changed in any way the sentiments of the public?
I think so, because certain things have happened. For one, we have a very activist ombudsman now. It's always on TV talking about what's happening. We have the ICI now that's, to some extent transparent, and its discussions are open. And of course, there's lots of institutional reforms that are happening. People are talking too much about the budget. I mean, it's not a perfect budget. No budget is perfect. But this current budget is a product of the reform, no? And the protests that have ensued because of the corruption scandal. So a lot of transparency was put into the process of making the budget. And in the budget itself, we're reallocating so much resources for human development. So a lot of things have happened. A lot of things still need to happen for certain reforms to take place. I don't know, to answer finally the question of your questions, I don't know if the president's numbers are going to improve or the vice president's numbers are going to improve. What Filipinos are looking for is good governance now. What Filipinos are looking for is for them to continue to have faith in democracy. And this is why all this infighting politically, all this noise, is really damaging to both democracy and development. That's why in the next year, the focus has to be on institutional reform. And I think that's what, government and certain sectors are trying to do.
But these dip in the numbers of both the president and the vice president, and we're going to need you to wear the hat of a political analyst for this one, Professor. What do they mean in terms of the political capital of both President Marcos and Vice President Sara Duterte? Because some critics say that the last 2 years of President Marcos will be all about political survival. Do you agree?
To some extent, but the president's not running anymore, the framing that it's an existential threat is one way to look at it, but another way to look at it is elite political conflict has truly damaged our people's perceptions about democracy and governance. The data of Octa from the second to the third quarter of this year indicate that elite political infighting has eroded public confidence in democracy, and more than any single policy failure. Guys is saying more than any single policy failure of the government, it's the fighting that our elites have been doing and shown in social media and in news, reported every day. That's really, how should I say this, making our people more and more pessimistic about governance, the prospects for good governance and democracy. So yun yung low institutional trust or low weighting of institutional trust is largely a product of that infighting. Now, we're used to this kind of infighting in the past, but this right now it's in the words of some analysts so severe, and at the point that some people are saying it's now an existential fight. This while elites fought each other, what the surveys, at least Octa surveys, are showing is that citizens were more worried about corruption, prices, and service delivery. They were focusing on that, not the political drama. So the next year should be, there has to be a way to, prevent further damage to the institutional credibility of the state, di ba? And we're seeing that in the data also. Octa's data is showing that a widening gap between the belief in democracy and trust in democratic institutions. So I think the focus next year, this year, and for the coming years is really institutional reform. And that will require our elites to pause for a moment, to forget their partisan personal interests and look at the country as a whole, because this is not about the Marcoses and Dutertes anymore. It's about all of us. And I'm happy, I'm hopeful, because while government is still trying to get its game in place, people are engaged in democratic initiatives. The last few months of protests are a hallmark that democracy is alive in our country and that people are engaged in the everyday life of their country. And while they are doing that, because they're doing that, I'm hopeful that certain reforms will emerge, and the more people participate in our democracy, the better that it becomes, the stronger, the deeper it becomes, no? So the more people participate, whether it's in protests or in the everyday lives of their communities, democracy is deepened and broadened. And that's my hope. That's what makes me hopeful for 2026, because the more people are engaged, the better governance and democracy becomes for our country.
Pero sir, conversely, the massive protests, of course, they are an expression of democracy, but they're also overshadowed in many ways by all these reports and rumors of some people instigating, at least on the side of the military, the creation of a transition council, a civil-military junta, withdrawal of support, and so on down the line. In other words, extra constitutional solutions to our worsening problem. Now, I bring that up because, as you said nga kanina, it appears that our biggest threat to democracy at this point is the political infighting among the elites. Are we in any danger of losing confidence and faith in democracy because of what is happening now, that 2026 raises the shadow of people actually supporting extra-constitutional means?
So far, our data, Ed, is not showing any strong support for extra-constitutional means for changing governance. There's no data in Octa then and now just to show any strong support for that. Our own data shows that despite its many problems, 8 out of 10 Filipinos continue to support democracy. 7 out of 10 Filipinos support the armed forces of the Philippines. They trust and support the armed forces of the Philippines. Nearly 8 out of 10 trust it. And they trust it for very specific reasons. One of those reasons is because it has stayed out of politics and continues to be apolitical. And so it's very clear, for Filipinos, it's not regime change. It's improving the performance of our democracy. It's making democracy impact on their everyday life. And that will require good governance. But good governance requires, statesmen and, of course, strong institutions. And the expose of the president, which has cost him politically and created some, what I believe is short-term instability, both in the economy and in politics, might be the way forward, because it has galvanized a new coalition of support for him. He's lost his coalition basically in the House and in the Senate. He's trying to win that. He used to use that as a shield. Today, because of what he did and because of the support of the people for this cause against anti-corruption, he can now use the people as his sword. He used to use the Congress and the elites as his shield. Now he has to use the people as his sword to move forward and push these reforms forward. Because right now, there's no turning back. He opened a Pandora's box. Unfortunately for him, there's no turning back. He has to move forward. Not because of legacy, not because he has to have high ratings. I don't think the president's there for popularity anymore. He wants to do something right. He wants to leave a legacy. It's really to help the people, because if we cannot solve this problem, Ed, governance will deteriorate, trust in democracy will decline, and who knows what will happen in the future. No, it might be more. People will be more open to these extra constitutional means. No, this undermining democracy. Okay, so this is the situation now. So it's more than the existential threat to Duterte's and the Marcoses, it's the existential threat to democracy.
Yes, sir.
That's the balance now, and everybody has to be on it. And this is a whole of nation challenge. If we want democracy to persist, we have to work at it.
Okay, sir. We'll leave it at that. An existential threat to democracy that we have to protect to the very end. Maraming salamat for joining us tonight, and Merry Christmas. Political Science Professor Ranjit Rai, also President of Octa Research Group.
All right, well, in other news, sales of firecrackers have started to pick up in the country's firecracker capital, Bukawi, Bulacan, a week before the New Year revelry. And authorities continue to impose safety standards for all vendors in the area. And reporting to us live tonight is mobile journalist Merimon Reyes. Merimon, kamusta ang sitwasyon dyan?
Good evening and Merry Christmas. So far, nanggaling kasi tayo ng Bukawi, Bulacan. And then nandito tayo sa isa pang part pa rin ng Bulacan kung saan hile-hilera pa rin yung mga nagtitinda, yung mga stall ng paputok. And so far, regular pa yung pricing nila. Pero ang nasabi rin kasi sa atin, yung price range na meron sila ngayon, pwede agad tumaas anytime around 10, 20 pesos or 50 pesos. Pero for example, itong mga nasa likuran ko, meron dyan yung mga sawa, tsaka yung, yung mga sinturon ni Judas. And sila kasi, yung for example, 500 yards, may ilang mga tindahan pa na 1:1 pa ang presyo. So 500 yards, 500 pesos. 1,000 yards, 1,000 pesos. Pero yung ibang mga stall, meron ng nararamdaman na pagpatong na doon. So pwede na mangyari 500 yards, around 1,200 pesos. For the rest, ganun din yung mangyayari. Yung ilang mga sale pa rin naman yung mga presyohan. For example, yung mga fountain. Actually, namili rin tayo para mapakita natin. Etong mga fountain, ito yung maliit, ito yung mga malalaki. Yung mga maliliit, ang price range siya around 25, may 35, may 40, may 50 pesos. Yung mga malalaki naman, 100 to 150 pesos yung mga tricolor. Meron din yung mga giant na mga fountain, mga around 3 minutes siya, mas matatagal na to, 750 to 800 pesos. Pagdating naman doon sa higad, ito bumili tayo ng higad eh. Ito yung parang maikli na sinturon. So ito parang around less than or 100 rounds lang ito. So 100, may 120, may 150 pesos. Ang nasabi rin sa atin na so far, yung pagtaas ng presyo kasi nila, lalong-lalo na pagpapalapit na ang disperas ng bagong taon, isang factor dyan is yung demand at saka yung supply nila. So kung itong likuran natin, 24 hours na kasi silang mga nagtitinde. Kung yan nakikita pa natin puno pang sa ngayon, pagka lumalapit na raw before the New Year, mauubos na yan. So pwedeng tumaas na yung presyo. And ang nakaasabi rin sa atin, yung ibang paggawaan daw kasi ng mga paputok, naapektuhan daw ng mga lumipas na pagbagyo sa mga lumipas na buwan. Kaya possibly kung meron ding pagtaas ng presyo, para rin daw makabawi sila. So kanina umaga sa pagpunta natin sa Bukawi, Bulacan, marami na agad ang nagbukasan. 24/7 na sila magiging open hanggang ang bisperas ng bagong taon.
Oo, so Mary Mon, marami na bang nag-take advantage ng mga murang presyo pa ng mga paputok dyan?
Pauline, may nakausap tayo nang galing pa ng Quezon. Bumiyahe lang sila papunta dito, 6 hours. Meron pa nang galing ng Bataan. Bumiyahe lang din sila papuntang Bulacan para lang daw makapamili ng kanilang paputok. Yung nanggaling ng Quezon, alam daw nilang mura talaga kasi sa Bukawi compared sa kung bibili sila doon sa Quezon. So yung imbes na yung extra budget daw nila, mapupunta lang daw sa mataas na presyo ng paputok. Lalagay daw nila sa gas, tapos the rest daw ng budget nila sa mga paputok nila bibilhin. Pero same din naman, for example, dito sa isang side naman ng Bulacan, dito along San Miguel kasi ito ganyan karami yung mga paputok. And yung pagpatong naman nila ng presyo, since humahango rin sila, kumukuha rin sila ng supply, hindi pa naman ganun ka sobrang taas ng patong nila. Pero yun nga, still, possibly sa mga susunod na araw, pwedeng magpatak na talaga sila ng pagtaas ng presyo. And ang isa sa pinaka-protocol na mahigpit na binabantayan ng pulisya, bukod sa mga ipinagbabawal na paputok, ang dami yan. Usually yung Goodbye Philippines, yung Plapla, ang Boga, bawal pa rin yun. Meron na rin mga bagong pangalan ng mga paputok na illegal at delikado raw ito. Kasama na dyan yung Kirlian Sara Diskaya, Senator Amy, Tino, Juan. So yan yung ilan sa mga binabantayan nila na dapat hindi raw maibenta dahil una, delikado plus illegal daw ang mga ito. And ang isa rin na nakita natin, for example, dito rin, meron silang mga balde ng tubig para in case lang na magkaroon ng aberya, meron silang pang-responde. Pero still, ang protocol sa mga tindahan ng paputok, bawal ang paninigarilyo within the area, bawal din ang testing ng mga firecracker.
Ako, marami na palang pangalan na bago, mga bawal na paputok, no? But for now, maraming salamat para sa report na yan at Merry Christmas sa'yo. Mobile journalist Mary Mon Reyes reporting to us live from Bulacan.
And we're pausing for another breather, but after that, voters are already complaining and it's only day 2 of the EDSA rehabilitation project. That and more stories are still ahead. Keep it here in One News.
Kapatids and Signal subscribers, thank you very much for joining us this 2025. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Hopefully this season gives you or brings you more peace, joy, and love with all your families. My wish is for all of us to be happy and to find the time to just relax and to enjoy our special moments with the people that we love. Stay tuned to One News on Signal TV. Join us next year.
Hello mga kapatid at mga ka-signal! Maligayang Pasko po at manigong bagong taon sa inyong lahat. Wish ko ay magkaroon ng transformation sa ating bansa para naman maging mas maganda ang kinabukasan nating lahat. Pero sa kabila ng nangyayaring mga kaguluhan sa ating bansa, magkaroon rin naman tayo ng puwang para magsaya.
Hello to all our ka-signals and lahat ng ating mga kapatid. Merry Christmas po sa inyong lahat. For this holiday season, I wish everybody good health. Sobrang sarap na pagkain para sa lahat at maraming Christmas bonus. And again, we want to thank you lang for joining us this past year and hopefully next year will be a better one. So hindi na siguro puro bad news. Looking forward to more good news with you all. So just wishing everyone the best of this holiday season and we'll see you again in 2026.
Sa akong nga igsuon diha nga mga bisda, Merry Christmas or mayong Pasko kaninyong tanan. So ang wish nako para ninyo kay naimutabang ninyo sa inyong pagbangon. Example, kanang mutabang ninyo nga magpatindog og bay, natay mutabang, natay mo donate ninyo. Or kung ganahan mo dito sa inyong trabaho, ma-promote, unta na ay mutabang ninyo, magtimo og recommendation para ninyo para ma-promote mo karon mas daghang kwarta, di ba? Kinsa magoy dili malipay ana, especially kung galisod tag maayo. So maura na ang akong wish para ninyo for Christmas karong tuiga. Merry Christmas kaninyong tanan. Ako nga igsuong bisda. Ako si Chicky Berhen.
Sa ating mga kapatid, sa mga loyal viewers ng TV5.
At syempre mga Signal subscribers, we wish you a Merry Christmas at isang masaganang bagong taon.
Yes! Lahat ng blessings ay dumating sa inyo sa pagpasok ng 2026.
At kung ano man ang pinagdaanan natin ngayong taon na ito, sana ay may natutunan tayo at dalhin natin lahat ng mga importanteng lessons na yun sa pagpasok ng 2026. Ang importante ay tayo'y buhay, humihinga at nagkakount tayo ng mga blessings na darating pa.
At maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta sa aming mga programa sa television. Thank you!
Hello mga kapatid! Just wanted to greet you a Merry Christmas and I wish for more blessings upon you for 2026. But for 2025, gusto ko lang po magpasalamat sa lahat ng ating mga kapatid na patuloy na tumututok dito sa One News, sa 1PH, sa TV5. Thank you for joining us every day. You are the reason why we do what we do. So, sana patuloy po tayo maghawak kamay para sa 2026. Patuloy tayong lumaban para sa katotohanan at patuloy tayong lumaban para sa ikagaganda ng ating bansa para yung Noche Buena natin hihigit na ng 500. Merry Christmas!
Hi, this is Angela Labinsad Castro.
And Miss Angelo Castro III.
Wishing you everyone
a Merry Christmas.
prosperous New Year.
Yes, oo.
Syempre ang aming kahilingan is of course good health for everyone, more time with family, better days ahead. And for our country, we pray that those who are corrupt will finally be held accountable so that we could move forward with fairness and honesty.
Amen.
Hello po mga kapatid, Denise Tan from Afternoon Delight. I just want to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I hope you get to spend your precious time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and I really do hope that you get all that your heart desires. Maraming salamat po sa inyong suporta.
Mga kapatid at sa mga Signal subscribers natin. Yes, Merry Christmas mula sa The Men's Room with John Winston. Happy holidays!
Merry Christmas mga kapatid at sana po maging masagana ang Pasko ninyong lahat. Ako po si Jay Taro.
Hello, ako po si Lord Rivera, nagpapaalala. Ang ligaya ngayong Pasko, sana mahanap mo. Hindi tulad ni Zaldi ko. Sana masagana rin ang bagong taon mo para yung allocables ng Kongreso. Sana ang puso mo ay punong-puno, nag-umapaw sa saya. Parang finger heart ni Ate Sara, Diskaya. Kung ang Pasko raw ay panahon ng kapayapaan, laging tandaan, walang kapayapaan kung wala rin katarungan. Yung pinakamagandang regalo natin sa sarili natin ngayong Kapaskuhan is the gift of memory. Huwag kalimutan yung mga nangako na bago raw magpasko, may mapupunta sa kulungan. Ang tanong, anong petsa na ngayon, Manong? Ewan, basta Merry Christmas na lang po sa atin lahat at unity pa rin kahit ayaw nila.
Walang pagdiin ang saya natin.
The big story is back with day 2 of the EDSA rehabilitation, and already some motorist patients is wearing thin over congestion brought about by the lane closures. Workers began concrete reblocking on 2 innermost northbound and southbound lanes from Ross Boulevard to Taft Avenue and from Guadalupe to Orense in Makati City. There's some buildup in the northbound lane approaching Pasay Rotonda this morning due to traffic lights, causing some drivers to get irritated.
Nako, napaka-traffic. Dapat di tinatapat sa season tong ganito eh.
Kailan dapat ako?
Dapat yung mga Sunday ng gabi gano'n, hindi ganitong oras. Napaka-traffic eh.
Sobrang traffic po, parang wrong timing.
Panahon na magbungkal, ito pang season na holiday. Ang tao na mamasyal, gagawa talaga ng dahilan. Yung traffic lang.
Grabe traffic! Dapat ipatigil na to muna ng engineer. Lagpas na bagong taon. Grabe traffic! Mahal naming presidente, ipatigil mo na to. Grabe traffic! Lugi kami sa hanapbuhay namin.
This is only phase 1 of the shortened EDSA rehab, which will be carried out round the clock until January 5, taking advantage of the holiday season. After January 5, roadworks will take place lane by lane from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. The DPWH released its schedule of repair works along EDSA from December 28 to January 5. Authorities will close the southbound lane from EDSA Corner
yung pagdagsa ng mga pasahero ngayon dito sa PITX. At kanina habang inikot natin ito dun sa mga gate ng mga terminal dito, kapansin-pansin ang haba ng pila ng mga biyahe pa southbound gaya na lang na papuntang Cavite, Batangas, Laguna, lalo-lalo na yung mga biyahe papuntang Tagaytay. Kaya nga sa mga nakausap natin, di man sila uuwi sa kanilang probinsya, panandalian muna daw silang pagbabakasyon at i-enjoyin ang long weekend bago nga sumapit ang bagong taon. Yung iba naman, talagang namipili pa ng mga pasalubong dito para nga daw sa mga kamag-anak nila napipistrahin sa mga probinsya. At ngayon, medyo humupa na yung daloy ng mga tao, pero nakikita natin sa ating likuran, tuloy-tuloy yung pagpasok. Pero iba to, compared to doon sa nakita natin kung December 23 and 24, lalo na kahapon, hindi din ganito marami yung volume. So medyo kumukonti o medyo kakonti yung volume ng tao na naitala ngayong araw. At may mga ilang pasahero na rin na pag nag-advance booking na. So inaasahan nga nila na bukas dadagsa ang ilang mga pasahero dito sa PITX hanggang December 31 yan. Pawi.
Alright, maraming salamat for that update. That was mobile journalist Francis Rivera reporting live from PITX. Merry Christmas sa iyo, Francis.
And let's head over now to the Ninoy Aquino International Airport for the latest updates on passengers flying out from Manila this Christmas Day. And some of them are already at the airport as early as 6 a.m. to catch their 4 p.m. flight. And reporting to us live from NAIA Terminal 3 is Mojo Arles de los Santos. Arles, bakit ang aga naman ang dating ng mga pasahero dyan?
Bago ang lahat, Merry Christmas, Bok and Pauline. Nandito nga tayo ngayon sa Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Terminal 3, kung saan ayon sa ating mga kapatid na pumunta dito, alas 6 pa lamang ng umaga, alas 7, may nabuti na nila na pumunta pa dito kahit 4 p.m. pa ang kanilang flight dahil ayaw daw nila na ma-delay ang kanilang pagdating dito, either ma-traffic o syempre mahuli sa check-in baggage na kinakailangan niyang gawin para sila ay makalipad papalabas ng bansa. So ito yung sitwasyon dito ngayon, Bok, at Pauline, so far, meron pa din manipis naman yung pila ng mga tao dito pero tuloy-tuloy pa din yung pagdating. Siguro dito konti sa bahagi na ito pero doon sa check-in area, self-check-in dyan sa unahan na yan, mas madami talaga yung tao. Meron tayong mga kaibigan dito na nakasama at nakausap kanina, ayon sa kanila yung mga 4 p.m. flight nakalabas na ng bansa, nakalipad naman na papunta ng UAE at Dubai, lalo na yung mga first timer natin na OFW na lumabas nga ng bansa. Ayon sa kanila, Pasko daw talaga na taon yung kanilang flight pero wala silang magagawa dahil ayun daw ang naibigay ng ticket ng kanilang agency. Pero hindi naman kailangan mag-alala, Bok at Pauline, kung masyadong maaga yung kanilang pagpunta dito dahil dito kasi sa NAIA, meron na tayong bagong establishment na ito yung tinatawag nila na OFW Lounge. Medyo sisilipin lang natin ng konti. Itong area na to, pwede yung lahat ng OFWs, libre ang lahat. Mga pagkain, inumin at pahinga, pati yung internet at 24/7 daw na ganito yung na pwedeng malagi dito yung mga OFW na medyo matagal na maghihintay. At yun nga, yung para sa mga international terminal fee at travel tax, kailangan bayaran muna nila para makapag-stay sila dito. Pero this December 20 to January 4, inaasahan nga naabot ng 2.5 million na mga pasahero ang dadagsa dito sa NAIA, kung saan nga nasa mahigit 100,000 ang inaasahan na dito sa NAIA Terminal 3 pupunta ang mga yan, 5% yan na mas mataas kumpara nga sa average nila na mga customer o mga pasahero sa ganitong season bawat taon. Bok at Pauline.
Maraming salamat and Merry Christmas sa mobile journalist Arles de los Santos.
Meantime, Pope Leo XIV used his first Christmas sermon to decry the humanitarian conditions of Palestinians living in Gaza. Breaking from a traditionally solemn service, Leo said the story of Jesus being born in a stable, quote, pitched his fragile tent among us. Leo has been vocal about the plight of the Palestinians amid the war, telling reporters just last month that the only path to peace is a two-state solution.
E come non pensare alle tende di Gaza, da settimane esposte alle piogge, al vento e al freddo, e a quelle di tanti altri profughi e rifugiati in ogni continente, o ai ripari di fortuna di migliaia di persone senza dimora dentro le nostre città.
In last night's Christmas Eve Mass, Leo said the occasion should be a reminder to all Christians that rejecting the poor is tantamount to rejecting Jesus.
Non accogliere l'uno significa non accogliere l'altro. Invece là dove c'è posto per l'uomo, c'è posto per Dio. Allora una stalla può diventare più sacra di un tempio e il grembo della Vergine Maria è l'arca della nuova alleanza.
Meanwhile, in his first Christmas message as president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, Lipa Archbishop Gilbert Garcera reminded Filipinos to cling to faith at a time of division and uncertainty. Garcera said, quote, God did not remain distant. He came closer to unite us and restore our good relationship with Him. All right, and that will do it for us this Christmas Day, December 25. Here on The Big Story, we'll be back tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Have a happy and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Kapatid, we are one news, all sides, all the time. Maligayang Pasko.